friends, and welcome back to 155 Books. My name is Shannon, and today I'm going to be sharing with you all of the books I want to read this summer. So I absolutely adore doing these seasonal TBRs and picking out the books I want to read each season, and I'm even more excited about the ones I've picked for summer because there are quite a few on here that I've been wanting to read for a really long time, and one fairly new one that I'm really excited about picking up. So without further ado, I'm just going to get into the books that I've picked. So the first book on my list is The Lesser Bohemians by Emma McBride. So you would have seen me talk about this and also mention about the fact that it might feature on my summer TBR in my books I want, or 5 Irish authors I want to try in 2024 video. I will link it in the cards above and in the description box below. But I mentioned Emma McBride as a author, like I say, that I want to rediscover in 2024, because the only other book I have read by Emma McBride was A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing, and that was years ago. I don't even remember now, like 6-7 years ago maybe. However, it was a book that I really enjoyed reading, and it is one that made me want to pick more books up by Emma McBride. But since reading her sort of like the synopsis of her back catalogue, this is the only one that's kind of like caught my interest. So the reason why I put this one on my summer TBR is because it's got a very similar synopsis to Almost Love by Louise O'Neill, which I read last summer, as this one follows an unnamed 18-year-old female character in the 1990s who is obviously Irish and moves to London to become a drama student, where she falls in love with a much older man. Like I say, the synopsis is similar to Almost Love, and it sounds like it's going to be very messy. It says that The Lesser Bohemians is a celebration of the dark and the light in love. So I'm not the biggest romance reader. I do every now and again enjoy like some of the romance books, but I'm not a big romance reader. I prefer messy love stories, and this is definitely one that sounds like it's going to be that. The next book on my list is a Shakespeare play, so it will be the next one that is in my chronology, as I am currently trying to get through the entire works of Shakespeare in chronological order. It is taking me a while, but it's fine. But the next one in that order is one I've had on my TBR for a really long time, as it's one that I meant to read when I originally started reading the Shakespeare plays and I did my year of Shakespeare. This was the November read that I never got round to reading, as I read all of them apart from November and December's ones that I'd picked. And it's one that I'm really excited about and one that I've wanted to pick up for a while, and that is Richard III. So if you didn't know this about me, I went to the University of Leicester and I studied archaeology, and it was just after they discovered the remains of Richard III, so I kind of have this, not connection with, but you know, this affiliation, I guess, with Richard III, and I don't actually know much about like the history of him, and also because I've recently been reading all the Henrys, it's been building up to Richard III's reign, which is really exciting. He has already been plotting in the previous Henry V Part 3 play. He's been, like I say, plotting to kill everyone so he can become king. Obviously we haven't seen that happen, so I wonder if it's going to happen in this one, or if this one is going to start when he's already king. I'm not sure, but like I say, I'm very excited about it, and I'm also very excited because obviously it starts with a very popular first line, and that leads me very nicely on to the next book on my list, as that is Enter Ghost by Isabel Hamad. So I've picked this one to read during a very specific period of the summer months. In the first week of July, I will be going to Cyprus with my boyfriend, as his family are Cypriots, so we'll be going to visit them. And I wanted a very specific book to take with me to read while I was there, and for some weird reason this one, it was just screaming at me. Like I say, since this one kind of came onto my radar, I've wanted to like pick it up and read it soon, and then obviously I bought it, but I haven't had time to get round to it yet, so I thought by picking a very specific week in which I can read it will definitely mean I will get round to reading it soon, so it doesn't stay on my TBR forever. but I am going to read the synopsis of this to you quickly, just so you know what this one is about. And as you may know, it has been shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction, hence how it came onto my radar. But this one follows our main character Sonia, who returns home to Palestine years after a disastrous love affair. She's also an actress, and she finds when she returns to her homeland that her relationship with Palestine is very fragile and raw. And then she gets involved in a troupe on the West Bank who are performing Hamlet. And that's literally all the synopsis really tells you. But this one sounds like one of those novels that is going to be about the main character rediscovering herself and her roots through the performance of the Shakespeare play, being Hamlet, and I just love novels like that, so I cannot wait to devour this, which I know I definitely will, and let you know my thoughts on it. The next book on my list is my short read. I always like to include a shorter book in my seasonal TBRs, and for the summer it is a graphic novel or manga, and that is Death Note book 4, which includes volumes 11 and 12, and this is the very last one, and I just need to finish this series. I've been saying that for a really long time. I've got to that point now where I don't even really remember what's happened in the rest of it. I'm hoping by picking it back up it will kind of all come back to me. I don't know how this is going to conclude, and I think that's maybe why I've been avoiding finishing the series, because I genuinely have no idea how everything's going to tie together, how it's going to end. I just don't know. And obviously because I've really enjoyed it so far, I want it to be like tied up well at the end and to make sense. I really don't want it to just end on a kind of cliffhanger, because that will really upset me. And the last book is my non-fiction and audiobook for the season, as I always like to include a non-fiction book, and that's the one I normally listen to on audiobook. But that is going to be Atomic Habits by James Clear. Again, this is one that's been on my radar for a really long time, and one that I've wanted to pick up and read for a really long time. I've owned this since I think January. I got it really cheap in like the post-Christmas sales, and I just haven't had time to get around to reading it yet. So like I say, I think I'm going to devour this one in summer, and again it's one that I think is going to really sort of like change the way I think and do things. At least that's what I'm hoping for, because as it says on the front, tiny changes, remarkable results. And for me, this isn't such a popular book for no reason, so I will be very disappointed, like I say, if it doesn't live up to my expectations. But again, you'll hear more about me talk about this once I've read it. I have noticed that I somehow always manage to make the spines match by complete accident. So obviously summer it's blue, black, white and gold. So I don't know how I do that every time, but yeah, it's very pleasing to me that the spines look very pretty together. But those are obviously all the books I want to read this summer. Please let me know in the comments what book you want to prioritise this summer. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye!